Now you're good to go.
Good. Hello, everybody from all around the world, literally, and to many people who will be watching this recording. We welcome you to this Friday's Asea 5, October 9, and we have with us tonight a special guest, David Silverman. Dr. David Silverman is a podiatrist from Bethesda, Maryland. He's close to Washington, D.C., but we'll forgive him for that. He graduated from the Rosalind Franklin University of Medicine and Science and the podiatry at William S. Scholl College of Podiatric Medicine. He has his BS degree in zoology like I do, although mine was not at the University of Maryland, College Park. And David, we welcome you. We also have Jim and Ann Glenn coming to us live from San Antonio, Texas. So my name is Dr. Lee Osler. I am a dentist in the state of Washington, and I'm pleased to kick this off. And so David, welcome. We know we've just been through a great webvention a week or so ago, and you were there. You were one of the primary speakers to teach and edify us, and you received a prestigious award for being a awesome business builder. And so we thank you for that and acknowledge you for your efforts to help all of us.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much. Good to see you guys. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Glad you're here.
David, if you could kick this off for us, and maybe we've got a lot of people tonight who have been here before. They've been on other forums, relative to what Asea and Redox signaling is introduced to the world. There's some who may not, and maybe you could start with a brief introduction of yourself, your story, why you're here, and maybe kind of kick on the high points of what this might be about.
Sure, absolutely. Very happy to be here. I'm happy to be here because, number one, I smashed my hand pretty bad today, and secondly, I was just mentioning to you guys that I had COVID, and fortunately, it was, almost like a cold, really. It was certainly less than the flu. Very grateful for that. Grateful for things that we do in this household that kind of protect us. But my background's podiatry and foot surgery, and I'm 60. The worst day I had, I was actually lying in bed, kind of achy, no fever, on Saturday, my 60th birthday. So I just turned 60. And my wife and I live here, and half the time in Florida in the wintertime. Get away from the cold and play some golf. My wife, Wendy, and we have 3 grown kids. My background's podiatry. I practiced in Maryland. I owned my own practice and my own surgery center, and I loved what I did. I just kind of felt like Groundhog Day after about 5-6 years. It felt like I did not like the routine. I loved doing it, but I didn't like the fact that I had to do it. But anyway, I was introduced to Asea almost 10 years ago, December of 2010, by my friend, not a doctor, an interior designer, actually, Debbie Wetzler, a dear friend. And that's what friends do. They bring it to friends. Some friends are open-minded and some are not. And it's not our job to pry someone's mind open. It's our job to just share what we know. And she just told me what happened with her mom, with her joint problems, and she wasn't using a walker anymore, and breathing problems, and she wasn't dragging around an oxygen tank anymore. And she showed me her own skin problems, and that went away. I was not interested in this as a business initially. I have been in network marketing. I've been to the top in network marketing. I've been burned in network marketing. I've been disillusioned in network marketing. I was not doing this as a business, but the product intrigued me. My dad was sick. He had a pretty grave issue, kind of issue in part of his body that no one wants to hear they have anywhere in their body, to tell you the truth. But that was my sole motivation for looking into this back in December of 10. And then, I can fill in the blanks after that, but that's how I got introduced to it.
Well, you were just at the webvention in Salt Lake. Could you expand or expound on the concept? We were told that we are Redox. This is something that is new to the world. This is a different modality in healthcare and wellness and anti-aging. So when we tell somebody that we are Redox, what is the big picture there, and why does that matter?
Well, the big picture is kind of like this big book. I mean, it's a big story. There are big books on redox and there are little books on redox. But it's new to the world. The world doesn't really know what's coming yet. The scientists know. If you go to pubmed.gov and you put in redox signaling in the search bar at pubmed.gov, and there's 20,000 articles and studies there, Lee, and you're more of an analyst than I am. I mean, I think you even, we're both on the medical board. I think you understand it even better than I do. There are things I've seen with this technology I don't think any of us can explain, and you know what I mean. We see things sometimes happen instantly, and it's like, that's impossible. It's physically impossible, but we see it happen. But redox stands for reductant and oxidant, and redox signaling molecules are in us. Our cells make them right now, but we made more when we were younger in our mitochondria, and we produce less and less and less as we get older after we pass through puberty, and we all see the changes. The simplest way to people look at it and say, who heals faster from the same injury, a 20-year-old or a 10-year-old? It's all what a 10-year-old does, right? But who heals faster from the same injury, a 20-year-old or a 40-year-old? The 20-year-old. A 60-year-old or 40-year-old. A 10-year-old girl falls off her bicycle, she heals, she's fine. That same girl at 50 falls off, she could have a frozen shoulder the rest of her life, ringing in her ear, all kinds of things, headaches. And if she did it at 80, there's a good chance she's going to die. Why does that happen? Because we go downhill, and it corresponds to us producing less and less of these redox signaling molecules that we make in our cells. And, what they seem to do, what we know about them, they do several things. They activate our glutathione. They make it so our antioxidants actually work, number one. Two, they amplify signaling in the body so that the immune system cells, like millions of little ambulances waiting for a call for help, like, oh, David fell down or David smashed his hand today between a branch and a pruner and really gashed the heck out of, bleeding like heck, but, it wouldn't stop bleeding. At 60 years old, that won't heal as quickly as it did when I was 10, right? But what redox molecules do is they amplify the signal to the immune system that David damaged these cells. And if the signal is amplified to the immune system, then the immune system can do what it's supposed to do. So redox molecules don't heal you or cure you. They activate your glutathione. They amplify signaling. And a double-blind study, which we may talk about, I'm not sure, shows that it turns our important pathway signaling genes back on, gene expression, not the genes that control our eye color or our height, but genes that control cellular function, our immune system, inflammation, hormone modulation, digestion, vascular health. And the thing is, if the product turns those genes back on in the double-blind placebo-controlled study, and the placebo was salt water, by the way, which is what this stuff is made from. It's not salt water anymore. People say it's salt water. No, it was salt water. It's reductants and oxidants made from sodium, chloride, hydrogen, oxygen. But if it turns those genes on, right, that get turned off as we age, our body can protect itself. If the genes are functioning, they're like shields protecting us. You're young, you're invincible. You're in your 20s, you're still pretty good, but you don't heal as quickly. 30s, 40s, 50s, those shields come down, and we're exposed to all this stuff that can happen to us within our body, from what internally and from externally. And we're putting the shields back up. And the people that drank the salt water, nobody's genes turned on. That's an incredible, incredible study. So bottom line is, they found a way to make it outside the body, identical to what's in us. And when I looked at it from my dad, I wanted to see studies on what my dad had. There are none. They won't do studies on diseases. This is a disruptive innovation. This is not a drug. In fact, it can't even be classified as a drug because there's no toxicity to it. You know this, Lee, every drug has an LD 50, lethal dose 50. Most people don't know this, but every drug will kill you. Every single drug will kill you if you take enough of it, because your liver can't metabolize it fast enough if you take too much. But this doesn't have that. It's not a drug. It's not metabolized by the liver. So we've got a product that you can't be allergic to it. It's in you. There's no toxicity, and it doesn't interfere with anything a person might be doing to get them to where they are, whether it's joint problems, breathing problems, something with their blood. They just keep doing what they're doing and assess everything in their health. And then they start using this product with no fear of any danger. That's what I cared about with my father. And they just track their progress and they watch what happens.
Let's go back to the gene study, because I think that is worthy of mentioning. It's an extremely pertinent point in terms of, from a science point of view, certainly. I know even on the bottle, the FDA is allowing Asea to place 5 bullet point, statements, claims as to what it accomplishes via gene signaling and gene expression. Could you go through those and explain why that matters? What the study group was and what came out of that and why that is significant for us today.
Sure. Let me just, I like, something people that are watching, I'm a person that I've learned, because I like this myself. I want someone to teach me how to fish, then just give them a fish. I recommend people go to amazingmolecules.com. I'm going to pull it up. This is a great site, by the way, Lee, as you know. Let me make it full. There's a great video here at 15 minutes explaining the product. There's a Genesis video here that really is the most important video here. This video was made in 2012. It explains how this product started, the company started, why they marketed through word of mouth marketing, how the founders turned down a huge offer from a pharmaceutical company because they were afraid that they were going to bury it. Why would a pharmaceutical company want something like this to enter the market? As much as, the typewriter industry wanted the word processor. The product's produced in an FDA registered facility. There's a 5-minute tour through the facility. Lots of great stuff here, pictures, so forth. But the gene study is here. Now, the gene study report is there, but I'm going to click the summary because it really simplifies it. And what it's showing here is that, let's see. Oh, I can't annotate on here. Okay. So it's showing that the placebo group is magenta here. Not one person had their genes turn on, but every single person who drank Asea did. And these were not sick people. The average age was 35. But what genes do they turn on? Well, genes that control these big buckets here. It's much more than this, and I'll show you the next page is really very telling. When you go to the testimonial websites like Real Redox Results and redoxexperiences.com, a skeptic or a cynic would say that's impossible. How can one thing possibly have an effect like that? Because it's not like anything else. It's not like any other one thing. It's kind of like, how could this device in my hand, how could I do it use it to call my wife, to look up who won the World Series in 1912, to order a pizza, to schedule a COVID test, to go into my virtual office and check to see what's going on in my business around the world. The reason it can do all those things is because it gets a signal. And if it doesn't get a signal, it can't do anything. It's a flashlight and a camera. So when you look at these things, these results, it's very, very telling that this is different. I mean, look at the light blue. It turns on genes that control vascular health. Do you see more problems with people with heart and blood vessels when they're younger or older? Older, right? They have more problems. Well, their genes have turned off. This turns those genes back on. Digestive problems, hormone modulation, inflammation. And the innate immune system, we can't claim this product cures, heals, or treats anything because that's a medical claim, and this is not a drug. But we can say it turns the genes on that control the innate immune system pathways. Why is that important? Well, let's say something was really terrible spreading around the world. Who seems to fare better with things like that? Younger people or older people? Everybody will say younger people. Why is that? Why? Adults' immune systems are stronger in certain ways because they've been exposed to more things. This thing about sterilizing our hands constantly is insanity because we're not exposing ourselves to things, and we're going to pay for it down the road with a lot of nasty infections. But with regards to the innate immune system, younger people do better. They have stronger immune systems. Why? Because they have their genes aren't turned off. This product turns genes on, and while we can't make claims, you have to kind of connect the dots here. So I draw attention just to one gene. See, these are just symbols to people. Who the heck knows what these are, right? EGR1, number 2. I can't circle it here because I can't annotate, but it turns those in 8 weeks. It was an 8-week trial. Half the people drank Asea, half the people drank salt water. Actually, a few drank nothing at all. But every single person who drank Asea, the genes turned on an average of this amount, right? So look at EGR1. In 8 weeks, it turns on 22%. Nothing does that. Nothing. You look it up in the literature. So what does EGR control? Right there just looks like 3 letters and a number. Well, we know what EGR controls, EGR1. Look carefully at this. These genes control pathways for all these things. Look at pathway 1, serotonin. Gee, does that have anything to do with mood, right? Circadian rhythm. Gee, what does that control? That's sleep. NRF2 pathways, just look that up. Everybody should write down NRF2 and look what that controls. Ovarian infertility, human thyroid stimulating hormone. 11 is insulin signaling. So this is much bigger than anybody who's here the first time can possibly fathom. And I know it's much bigger than even you and I can fathom, and we're on the medical board.
Okay. This is huge, right? Why network marketing, David? If this is so big, it's been on the market 10 years, because we get this. Well, we've been doing it for 5 years. You've been doing it a lot longer. Why network marketing? And why is it taking this long? And in essence, so few people know anything about it.
Well, everybody has that question. And until someone sees the product work, they generally don't believe what I tell them. And when someone says, I don't believe it because we would know about it, I say, take the gel version of it, Renew 28. And I'll say, you want to know today that it's real? They're like, yeah, how could I possibly do that? Because the drink, you want to give it 90 days. I mean, there's a 30-day money back guarantee, but baseline everything in your health. Take between 4 and 8 ounces a day. If you're not seeing changes at 4 ounces a day at the first week, double it up, go to 8. Just take it. You'll know. You just track everything in your health. Take pictures of your skin. Put this on your skin. But for people who doubt this, and the people who are entrepreneurial, I think they all agree. If it's true, it's patented. It's real. It's a breakthrough. It's enormous. They want to know it's real. They would agree that it's better to know that it's real now. If you're opportunistic, then find out down the road, right? Well, you don't have to wait 30 days or 90 days. You take the gel, you go and you commit to find 10 people who are hurting somewhere in their body. like
a thumb?
Like a thumb. 10 people who are hurting. Thumb, finger, carpal tunnel area, neck, shoulder, back, hip. They pick the people. It doesn't matter. And they could be, let's say they're all closed-minded cynics. Let's say they're all people that say, bah, humbug, I don't believe a word you're saying. But my neck, it hurts. What's the discomfort level on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being a little, 10 being a lot. 2. Okay, then you have somebody who can't lift their shoulder. This shoulder does this. This one, they can't get past here, and it's a 10. Baseline everything, and then say, give me 10 minutes. Not 90 days, 10 minutes. So 10 people who are hurting, they give you 10 minutes. They rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. And in the first 5 minutes, they apply the gel 3 applications, 3 times in 5 minutes. I shot a video 3 times in 5minutes.com. So all you ask them to do, and you ask them to be honest. They can be negative, cynical, whatever. But if they promise they'll be honest with this. Let's say there were 10 people who they all had the same thing and they can only go this far. Watch what happens to 9 of them. 9 of the 10 within 10 minutes. And then you say, okay, now I watched that video, or I listened to what that guy said about why it's marketed through network marketing and not word of mouth. It's undeniable. It works. I mean, it's like, it's just, you do that and anybody will absolutely know. Is there a chance maybe 8 people say, wow? Yeah. Is there a chance 10 people out of 10 say, wow? Yeah. But it's so self-evident. It's ridiculous, honestly. And it shows people this is real. It's not salt water. But then like I say, they'll say, oh, now it kind of makes sense. I watched that video, that Genesis video that guy showed at amazingmolecules.com. And they developed this. They were going to flip it. They were going to sell it to a pharmaceutical company. The pharmaceutical company said, we're buying it. They checked out all the data. We'll buy the patents. We buy it. And you shut down. And the developers of the product, Virtus and Tyler Norton, they said, well, what about the people that are on the product? I mean, these aren't people that had shoulder problems. These are people that had significant challenges that maybe were told, sorry, it's nothing we can do. And they're doing okay.
You know, real quick, David, you know, in that, because I had that business mind. I'm an ex-stockbroker. And the thing that you mentioned a disruptor technology.
Right.
The other thing that the pharmaceutical company that came in, this is also an earnings disruptor.
Oh, yeah.
For pharmaceutical.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's why they were willing to cut a very large check to protect their future earnings.
Of course.
How much money they make. And, you know, there's a lot of disruptor factors here. And then Ann had something real quick too.
Well, you became kind of famous for the 3 times in 5 minutes. So it had to have excited you six or so years ago when the gel came out, because it took that long to make it. I'm trying to figure out how did you realize that it could happen so quick? I mean, did you start testing it?
We didn't know, Ann, when the gel came out in 2014, it's marketed for wrinkles. You know, that's what it's marketed for. And, you know, I like that my wife uses it. She likes that I use it. You know, I mean, we're 60 and but that's just vanity. That's nothing. That's nothing compared to the importance of this breakthrough. Nothing.
Right.
But then people start, the way I heard someone found out, a woman who had a really, really bad headache, and she was just putting it on her face in the morning, and all of a sudden her headache was gone. And she's like, well, that's weird. And then it started spreading word of mouth, just like this business and the opportunity and the products spread around the world, 33 countries through word of mouth, and $200 million this year. It goes viral, right? I mean, not viral like I got COVID, that kind of viral in a good way, right? But I remember doing a presentation and I saw that I stood up and I was speaking and I said, I'm finding about 50% of people are really, really happy within about 5 to 10 minutes of putting this on. We can't make a claim it works for pain. We can say it eases discomfort, we can say now, but back then we couldn't even say that. And I said, it's about half the people. And a woman stood up, you're wrong, Dr. Silverman, and raised her hand. And I'm like, okay, I thought she was a heckler. I'm like, okay, I'll just keep, oh, well, that's what I found. I continue. Then she goes, no, you're wrong, Dr. Silverman. And I'm like, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, that's what I've seen. And she goes, no, you're just not doing it enough. Put it on more. I put it on like 10 times and it's almost everybody. So I talked to her afterwards and I started experimenting with it. And you can't say to somebody, put it on 20 times in 10 minutes because that's too much for a skeptical person to sit and do. But I kept playing with it. And what I found was if you do that application liberally 3 times in the first 5 minutes, by the 10th minute, 9 people are pretty stunned. That's how I came to see that it was an easy way, a quick way for anybody to validate it.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that it can be applied to the carotid artery and the harmonics. So it really doesn't matter where your challenge is. We can test it on anybody at a presentation, and because it's here, it could be working on a bum shoulder. So,
it's amazing, and that's such a little thing of what this in the big scheme of this breakthrough. That's a tiny little 1 page out of a huge novel.
Okay, now you talk about the facial stuff as being, what did you say?
Vanity.
Well, now hold on a second. Okay, can I show you a picture, David? Since you've shown a couple of pictures, I'm going to go ahead and show one. And you tell this lady that it's just vanity.
Tell her it's not important.
Go ahead. 30
well,
days.
there you go.
Now, David, if that were you and that's your before and after, are you going to be kind of glad you did the 30-day Redox challenge?
Absolutely. Oh, no, look, and let me tell you something. Everybody wants to look. There's not one person who wants to look older as they get older, unless they're underage drinking and they want to look older and they want to look like they're 18. But even you, Jim, have got to admit, if that woman has got something else going on inside of her body and she's scared or she can't sleep or she's got whatever, you know, that's icing on the cake. My daughter, I think, is beautiful, but she's a good person. I always said, that's just icing. You're a good person. And that's the same thing with this. This is icing. But
it's also, and this is what's powerful about that, because that woman, it is evidence that what is changing on the outside is evidence of what's changing on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't have a zipper that we can unzip our chest and see how the inside looks. Now, you're a doctor. You could. You do? You have one? But that is the evidence. And then also doing what you're talking about, the 3 and 5. That's the evidence it's doing something on the inside.
Well, plus when you apply it to the face, Josie's 61. So inflammation can reduce in someone's face. You can tell looking at people in their face many times that they're not well, whether it's their color or they're bloated, whatever. And so she saw those things in the first 30 days. And of course, she's very excited. I was excited to learn on Tuesday night, Terry Latham mentioned at a meeting that our new bottles have 6 areas that it works, to improve, 6 vital areas. And so the 6th one, because we had one of the new bottles that I happened to pack, and it talks about giving the body the ability to handle stress or fight stress. So it's very exciting that now is part of the 6 things that our body can see changing. Just
absolutely.
Using it daily.
And I'll tell you, I don't know what else we're going to talk about here, but let me just share one screen for people to take a screenshot of. If everybody were to get their camera ready or take a screenshot, because there's some really good resources on here, and look, you want science, how to use the product, whatever, you just take the picture and save it. But at the bottom, it all comes down to this. Once I knew it was safe, I just wanted to know when it says, what about me? My question was, what about my father? And so go to redoxexperiences.com. The password is the word associate with a capital A. Go to realredoxresults.com. The password is Redox, lowercase. So the top one is the word associate, capital A. The bottom one is Redox, lowercase, REDOX. And just go look at that. And these are normal people who, in fact, there's a recording of one of the calls I think you guys did right there with Avi Herskovitz and Lee Yu. These are great resources to get more information. But I always tell people, look, you can listen to me and investigate it properly and come to know it's real, or you can walk away. I'll say I just feel badly for the people you love if you walk away, because I can't get to them. You're the connect doorway to a lot of people. You tell 10 people and they each tell 10 people and they each tell 10 people. And then they each tell 10 people. It's 10,000 people who know about this because you told 10. So you're a door. Every person's a doorway. I don't want to say I pity them. I feel badly for them when they don't really take this seriously. But every person on this call who's new will be using this product one day. Yeah. There is no doubt in my mind, just a matter of when.
Yeah. David, I want to ask you, I want to segue into that just a little bit and have you describe maybe 1 or 2 ways that you introduce somebody to this, because we have a lot of health professionals on tonight and many others who are just now learning about this. And I know when I first learned about this and saw what it did for my wife and my family, I was seriously wondering why I hadn't heard about it before. I'm a past president of a national, actually international medical dental professional academy. I've developed software. I've written 4 books for physicians and dentists, how to co-manage patients. I'm pretty up on the science, and I hadn't heard about it before. It took my wife's physician to tell me to go look at this. How do you, and I've left me feeling like, what was I missing, or why wasn't this out there? Why hadn't I heard about this? How is it that you approach people and create enough, I don't know, intrigue or interest or whatever that would cause them to take the deep dive and look at it even?
Well, there's one thing that I know about every person I'm talking to, whether it's an Uber driver or a brain surgeon at Hopkins, okay? Number one, their body's made up of cells, number one, and this is a cellular health product. And number 2, they're getting older every day. And number 3, there's actually 3, they love somebody that's got some issues. Everybody's got something, and so I think, people will, when people don't want to be had, and this sounds too good to be true, and it's multi-level marketing, and people think, well, how can that be? And it's not worth my time. It's worth their time if they see it as a solution to a problem they have. When Debbie brought it to me, my problem was my father, right? He had a grave issue. So that was my reason why. It could be someone wants to look younger. It's like you show them before and after pictures. So like, I'm in, and I just want them to come into this incredible room of Redox. I don't care what gets them in the door. If they want their wrinkles to be less or cellulite because it works for that, great. When they get in here and they're using the product, they're going to say, wow, look at all the other great things that are happening to me. You know, this is fantastic. I feel 30 years younger. It could be they want to have better athletic performance. It could be they've got a child who has learning problems. It could be anything. It's their hot button, you know. It could be they need an opportunity. I mean, right now, you know, this world's in a mess. I mean, this virus, I mean, it's kind of changed things, and there are a lot of people that are very concerned about their financial present and future. And business is crushed, but even before COVID, I mean, you know, 90% of people struggle or settle on their way through life. So there's an opportunity here. So the key, what I try to find out, Lee, is by asking questions. I'm listening for a weak spot. I'm listening for a problem they have. And I want to meet them where they are. I shot a video, you know, 6 minutes, 6reasons.com, right? It's obviously it's 6 minutes, and it's those 6 reasons I just went over. And you know, it's hard for me to play that video for people because I'm in the video. But a lot of people in my group, and a lot of people do, they'll say, just look at this. Okay, you tell me what part of this you're interested in. This is a doctor. His dad was really ill when he looked this initially. His friend brought it to him like I'm bringing it to you. And I don't want to talk about anything you're not in, only what is concerns to you. Just play the video or ask them the questions, you know, and if they have a problem they want solved, and they look at it, see this as a possible solution to their problem, maybe not your problem, and maybe they don't have a dad that's got a issue with his prostate, then they're more likely to take this very seriously. But you got to get them interested, and you're not going to get everybody interested, you know. And I don't know if my dad wasn't ill when Debbie brought it to me, I might not have really investigated it the way that I did.
Right. So you talked about the networking and so forth. What is it about this business model that makes it the better vehicle? Like this was a Fortune 50, you know, a corporate strategist that built a multi-billion-dollar company that we all know about with, you know, it's probably a couple dozen conglomerates, to become more than a household word for us. This is the guy that made this decision. What was it about that? And why did he choose this business model? That's something that kind of, that's like it's in the craw of the throat of a lot of people. It did mine. And
yeah. Well,
I
you
had
got
to work
over
my
it.
way through it.
You
I got over it, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was a big hurdle, and there had to be a big reason. I had to understand that. That's why that Genesis video, you know, was helpful to me, because I needed to know that story. But why did they choose this model over, say, you know, a brick and mortar or an online like an Amazon or, you know, any other distribution model?
Well, you know, Vertus Norton, you're talking about, he didn't know what network marketing was. And most people say, oh, like that Amway pyramid thing. I mean, people don't understand network marketing, that it's a huge legitimate business. There are bad apples that have given it a bad name. There are distributors that run around and trick people and say, you know, come to this meeting, is it Amway? No. Come to this meeting, is it Amway? No. Come to this meeting, is it Amway? No. You go in and it's Amway. I'm not bashing Amway. I'm just saying there are people who push. And it's the greatest thing, and your life stinks. You should do what I'm doing. 6 months later, hey, how's your business going? Oh, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, and so people see people come and go through this industry all the time. So he didn't really know what it was, but he did see that the people, when they got the offer from the drug company, and the drug company said, you know, shut down, and they wouldn't do it because, well, what about the people we have on it? And the drug company said, you know, let them go. It's like, let them go. Hey, let them go. But they look back at the test group that they had tested the product on, and like the 30 people that were drinking it for 2 months, getting free refills on it. 2 months later, they come back and they turned into 135 people drinking it because it worked. Those people told people who told people, and when they then later when they turned down the offer and said, how are we going to market this stuff? You know, we're not selling out to the pharmaceutical company. They'll just make it go away and no one will ever know about it. What the hell do they care? You know, to offer 8 figures for a technology is nothing to the pharmaceutical companies. To keep something disruptive off the market, that's a flea. No, it's nothing, right? Are we going to sell it on store shelves? Oh, sure. People are going to buy this stuff. What's the ingredients? Sodium chloride and water. Oh, gee, I'm going to spend money on that.
I'm sure that would jump right off the shelf into your shopping basket.
Yeah, and it takes a little explaining. You know, it takes some hand holding because one of the things that I said, it increases your levels of activated glutathione. People detox on it. About 10% of people could get a headache or a rash. That would scare a person if they don't understand. That's a good thing. That's your body cleansing itself, getting rid of this stuff. So it needs some explanation, right? And some hand holding. And so what they did is they just took away all the middlemen. 50% of global volume goes to us. Remember, I said, you tell 10 people about this. Every time they get the product, the company pays you residually over and over again. And that's money while you sleep. And I didn't have that as a doctor, right? So you have 10, as an example, 10 customers on it. It's like, great, you have enough money coming in to pay for your entire family's product, right? But you know what? If they're not just customers, how many of those 10 people would like to have a better life? 90% of people are struggling or settling. So let's just say, 5 of those people did the same thing. They told 10 people, and 10 were constant customers, but 5 of those people told 10 people, and they told people, and they told people. And you create this ripple effect, but it all leads back to you because you started it. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's fair. It's fair compensation because you can make more money than the person who brought you into this. It's what your motivation is. It's how you build your business. Like my sponsor, she's an ambassador diamond. She's a Debbie. She's in the Millionaires Club, and I out earn her in this business. I'm not bragging. It's an example to show, wow, that doesn't sound like a pyramid scheme. How can you make more money than the person above you? Because it's not a pyramid scheme. It's legitimate network marketing with a very fair comp plan.
And I like the word rippling. I'd like to ask Jim if you could weigh in. David talked about something that I heard the word, he didn't say it, I don't think, but I heard the word diversification. And, as a stockbroker, you were working with people to help them diversify their investments, and there was a reason for that. Would you maybe address that concept of how this model diversifies your source of income and how it creates a even maybe stronger form of leverage than maybe what you've spent 30, working at?
Well, I don't want to go negative on my old industry of 30 years. But that's what I taught was asset allocation, diversification. But there's some downside to that when I've seen significant market crashes, as an example, everything goes down, even the asset allocation models that are supposed to protect you on the downside. So they go down almost equal to what the market does. But on the upside, you have certain segments that take the market up quicker, and asset allocation models typically have minimal in those allocations that are going higher. So an asset allocation fund won't recover as quickly as, say, certain segments. And I don't want to pick on that industry, but I think of it and I get sick to my stomach because I could invest David's money one day, and then the next day, which in a year later, I had clients that their account was down 50%. And it was nothing that I did, but yet they blamed me. And I wish I had this model to show people then, because it's not based on your money that you have invested. So if people have that kind of money, leave it invested, but then look at another way to create a future income stream. That's the key. Because if you've got an asset portfolio that you now start taking income from and the market drops, you'll never recover from that, ever. Because if as your asset, your account value is going down, you're still taking out the same withdrawal. Well, that percentage withdrawal is going up and people will never recover. But if we can show them how to take some time, a half hour a day, as Debbie Wetzler, who's one of my favorite people on the planet, she did this in 30 minutes a day. And she has one of the most inspiring stories out there. And she did it, but she dedicated time to doing it. And David, maybe that's something you can talk about, because that's something a lot of people, we're looking for the right people. And, we want to help people that have health issues, but the more people we get out there that are sharing it with more people, you end up helping more people. But again, getting back real quick to your question, Lee, this way of educating people on leveraged income is a game changer. It's massive. And David, when you said, because when my best friend was sharing this with us, there was only one thought going through my head. If this is real, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. I've been around a lot of the geniuses on Wall Street. And there was one question, by the way, I would ask them when they came into our office if they were doing what's called a secondary offering or an IPO. Pretend it's you, David, and pretend you're Vertus Norton. And I asked him this question, Mr. Norton, this is the first time I met him. Will you ever take this company public? And he said, no. By the way, a quick surprise. On November the 6th, we've got Tyler Norton going to be joining us on our show.
Oh, wow.
And we will be able to talk about this with him. But the greatest gift besides the technology to me is the business opportunity. We had no future, and this saved us, David. And I think you kind of have a similar story, right?
Oh, it is this changed my life, our family's life. It's legacy. You know, this company's mission is well stated, and part of it is to make sure that our children get residual checks and grandchildren well after we're gone or wherever we're leaving it to. And you know, you mentioned Debbie. Let me just share something with everybody. I'm going to put a link up also where you can read these are real people. This is a magazine that just was out just recently, and these are all people involved. There's me and my wife Wendy, and there's Debbie right there, right? Half hour a day, right? She was bankrupt, her house was being foreclosed on. She's in the $1 Million Club. There's an art that this, I'm going to put the link up for this to everybody. Let me put it up to everybody here. You're going to see something come up from me. Copy that link, and then look through the table of contents and pick the story you want. It is on page whatever. You'll see different stories on each page. It is powerful how this business can change people's lives. Look, we have everything here. We've got a patented product that's perfectly safe. It's a breakthrough. It works really, really fast. You can make a believer out of 9 out of 10 people in a matter of minutes. And it's run by really, really good people, like principled people, not shysters. I mean, this is the real deal. This is legacy. All that's in place. And I looked at it like this way. I've been exposed to it. I know about it. What am I going to do with it? Am I just going to be a product user and tell a few people, or do I see the big picture like you do and realize that there's no limits to this? I mean, zero limits to this, right? The number one earner made $4 million last year. She's a housewife with a high school diploma. There is no limits here, but it is not get rich quick. It takes work. And a lot of people say, well, it's all here. Let's have the money fall from heaven. It doesn't work that way. You got to do some work. You got to be coachable. Anything worthwhile takes work, effort, and energy. But it's some people just want to get out of debt. Some people just want to get to $2,000 a month residually. That's $24,000 a year. The median income in the United States, half the households in the country, this is in 19, God knows what it's going to be in 20, it's going to go down, was $63,000. Half the households in this country made less than $63,000. You can show a person with a high school diploma just to get to the qualifying bronze level, let alone silver, gold, platinum, diamond, up. And it's the average income of a qualifying bronze is $2,000 a month. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That changes people's lives. Is $2,000 a month going to make anybody rich? No. But when people get to $2,000 a month and they look at my organization, look at my ripple effect. It's like, I can make a bigger ripple effect if I want to. And you're looking for people who are better than you. And it's a win-win business, but it isn't easy. And it ain't get rich quick. And anybody that tells you that it is, and anything, run away, because there is no such thing.
Hey, can you guys, the thing that I find amazing is this has been on the market how long, David?
Soft launch end of 2009, hard launch 2010.
Why hasn't anybody copied this yet?
It's not reverse engineerable.
Why?
It's impossible because it's negatively charged reductants. That's where the RE comes from, and positively charged oxidants in the same bottle. And it was thought to be physically impossible to do that because they're unstable. It's like trying to put say, here, you know what, boy, if we could market a bottle of water that was half hot and half cold, boy, that would be great, wouldn't it? How can you do that? I mean, you put hot and cold water, it's going to meld together and become warm water. And that's what reductants and oxidants are supposed to do. But Dr. Gary Samuelson found a way to, is atomic medical physicist. Did I have this book here?
Yeah, you have that little book there. Yeah.
Yeah. The Science of Healing Revealed. There he is on the back. He found a way to stabilize it. So there's a 15-month shelf life. So it's you can't reverse engineer it. It's patented. And my question was, okay, patents run out, right?
Yeah.
But Coca-Cola patents ran out 100 years ago, but they have trade secrets. And all of this product for the entire world is produced in a very, very secure FDA registered facility in Pleasant Grove, Utah. So we own the market. There are other Redox products that are coming out now. Some of them are like to put on your skin and it kills germs and things. And it's a fascinating benefit of this product of what it does to bacteria and viruses. Really interesting with no toxicity towards us. But we own it. We are Redox. We're like the Kleenex. And we're in momentum. I mean, the company's grown in revenue every year, every single year. They're profitable the first year. They have no debt. And in 2016, they did about 79 million, which is respectable, but it's not that. I thought it would be much higher by then, right? And then in 17, they did 84 million, but then in 18, it jumped. It went to 120 million. And then last year, it jumped again in 19, 170 million. This year, they're over 200 million. So we're in that. We've been working through this slow growth thing, and now we're starting to do this. And very shortly, it's going to go completely viral. And it'll be $1 billion company. It will not take long to be $1 billion a year company.
But what's amazing is the market penetration is still probably 0.01.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that.
Nothing.
A lot don't know about it. I love, well, one, how you and Maureen and Denny were interviewed at WebVention talking about the Renew and the new claims. And I love how our company is the complete cellular health company. We've got the Redox platform. Then we added the incredible skincare, how simple it is with the cleanser, of course, the Redox, and then the moisturizer. How simple can you get for daily care? And then you add these awesome nutraceuticals, and I've seen bunches of them in the 15 years of doing nutrition and fitness. And these are synergetic to work with Redox. So you're getting what you need daily, which many people lack in their Western diet. Here you can get it. I remember you said at one meeting, you said you could, pop those open, pour them in your smoothie or however way you would eat it. I think you said some chia seeds, some of these products, and then whatever else you added and that's your lunch. But that truly is it, because it's whole food. It's not synthetic. It's not fillers. It's not garbage that's out there. And it's just neat how we can run a business with just 9 products. We don't need this 200 book of this, that, and the other to promote. I mean, it's just amazing how someone can have everything they need just in those 9 products.
It's cellular health. We have it all.
I love it.
The nutritionals, a couple of them changed my life. I mean, they really did change my life, the nutritionals. But to be honest with you, there are companies that have really good nutritionals, and there's some that have stellar. We have stellar. The 4 nutritional products there's nothing better on the market. You might find something as good. You might, right? I'm not saying there isn't, but there's nothing better, and 95% of it's worse. And some of it's actually dangerous. People look at it. So if you're into nutrition, just look very carefully at what's in these products. And where the materials come from is really important. It's the source.
Yeah. Oh, the source for sure.
Yeah. Hey, David, real quick. You brought up category creator. Why is this taking so long is the way I explain, because it's a category creator. Can you please explain that? Because nobody knows what Redox is. And right. Because it's brand new, so if you go into the biggest health food store in the world, they don't have it. If you go all the way to the back and there's a little door there and it says Redox, it's all Asea. Can you explain the importance of, and maybe to Lee, category creator? Why is that such a big deal?
Go ahead, Lee.
Well, we just talked about the idea of how complementary this works. You know, the idea of good nutrition and lifestyle health, there's a reason why good sleep and good food and stress reduction and exercise create healthier people. And it's because it activates the mitochondria. When the mitochondria is activated and becomes more efficient, it produces more energy, but it also produces more redox signaling molecules, which we used to think was just garbage or waste or exhaust. And we created on our planet an antioxidant industry around the idea of getting rid of these redox molecules that some people would call free radicals. And some of them are dangerous and too high amounts. But the point is, the reason why all of those measures help and work and create health is because they're helping to create native redox signaling molecules. And as Dr. Silverman pointed out, as we age or become exposed to radiation or toxicity or whatever, we're less efficient at that in that process. And so we're making less of those redox signaling molecules in our own body. And that's why this is such a big thing, is that we can replenish those levels. Well, redox signaling is a new category. It is not a berry, it's not a fruit, it's not an antioxidant, it is not nutrition. You still need to eat and sleep and exercise and do all of those things properly, because the signaling, these are, you know, you talked about what's blended in that blue bottle of oxidants and reductants. They're signaling molecules. And that's why people look at you quizzically. They go, what is that? And that's the whole point. It's a new category. And that new category then sets in motion all of the other things that you're doing in life, including nutrition and other supplements. This makes them work better. That's how I would respond to it.
Yeah. Now, but can you answer why it says it's a dietary supplement, David?
Every country is different. It depends on the market. Some places it's considered a water, some considered a food. We're in 33 countries, and I've been to a lot of them. And I didn't know anybody in those countries. When I've gone to speak, it's because that ripple effect. I told somebody who told somebody. It's in Sweden, it's in Finland, it's in France, it's in Singapore. It just kind of spreads around. But every country has different regulations, so the labels look different. Some countries you can't even use the word redox; it's not on there. Some of them you can't. So every country is different. But a couple things I want to mention. One is, Anna, I mean, you must have been hearing somebody else. I don't cut them open. I just take the pills because they're all veggie caps. I don't cut them open.
Okay.
I'll just tell you, when I first of all, when this whole thing started, hearing about around the world, I definitely increased what I was drinking. I mean, I was drinking 8 ounces a day, and I probably averaged 12 ounces a day through this whole thing. And then when I went to Utah, I came back, I got diagnosed with it. And I was drinking a bottle a day, and I can't say it's this that did it, but I had very minimal symptoms. I never had a fever. I never had respiratory problems. All I had was like 2 days of stomach upset, and I felt kind of achy, and I felt my eyeballs hurt. It felt like I had a fever, but I had no temperature, right? And it just went, and it was like, whatever. Now, some that could be just luck of the draw. It could be some of the things that I do to protect myself, that I feel like protecting myself. But with regards to people not knowing what this is, there may be network marketers listening to this that have seen companies do this and then do this, just crash and burn. I've had people come to me in the past 10 years, 9 years doing the business, with different companies. Just name a couple: Nerium, Jeunesse, and companies that were saying, "Oh, I'm making all this money," right. And they were networkers, and all they did was left one company and dragged people to that company, and they'd have these artificial checks and say, "Look at my check." It's like, no thanks, that's BS. That ain't growing a business, and I don't want to look for a home in 5 years, because I would investigate some of the companies and see what was wrong with it, and maybe it was ethics, maybe it was smoke and mirrors, and those people are on to other things, and this is a home. I didn't put my family's future on the line for something that has a good chance of going away. That's why I investigated Virtus and Tyler and everybody so well running this company. But we're pioneers. Those people were selling wrinkle things and some patch to put on your eye so the puffiness goes away, which is pretty much like Preparation H, and gimmicky stuff. But you know what? we don't know how to explain this. You know, people don't know how to explain it. It's a whole, what is redox? I mean, who ever heard of antioxidants 30 years ago? Now everybody knows what it is, right? But that's what I love about the gel. Give someone an experience, show them before and after pictures. And if their neck hurts, if you got a 90% chance they're going to have an aha moment in 10 minutes, then take the shot, have them put the gel on. Not everybody has discomfort, but a lot of people have something. And if they don't, they love somebody who does. And that's why I love this. We're pioneers. We're going to be rewarded decades from now. Our families will be being rewarded for us being the pioneers now. When people said, ha ha, salt water, to, oh my God, Asea, like that, that's like the Kleenex of tissue world, right? That's where we're at. So it's worth the effort.
Yeah.
Well,
Exciting.
Well, let me just say this about, because he just used the word salt water. This is saltwater chemistry. People say, well, you know, we have water in our bodies because we drink water. It's like, no, we don't have water in our bodies. We have saline in our bodies. We are saline creatures, and we would not be alive if we didn't have saline. David mentioned before, that's how the mitochondria actually makes these redox molecules, is by mitochondrially, I use that word, electrolyzing saline, sodium chloride, and producing the mixture of redox molecules. And so that's what's so unique about it. It is saltwater chemistry. We just found a way to put it in a bottle and make it and retain its activity.
That's right. Our cells are filled with salt water.
The diagram sums it up. Look at that.
David, can you close us out with, is this for everybody, or is this just for us folks that have a little bit of gray hair? Now, Lee doesn't have any gray hair yet.
I don't.
And doesn't have any, but is this just for people that have something wrong with them, or should everybody be taking this stuff for prevention, being proactive?
That's like some people say that to me, and I'm like, you know, do you have a car? Yeah. Do you, is there anything wrong with it? No. Do you change the oil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you change the oil? Because it could, and when I was young, I screwed up a car. I didn't change the oil and the engine seized up. I learned my lesson. It's like, no way, baby. I'm changing the oil. I'm going to keep that thing running. So whether a young person has a problem with pimples, or a young person wants more energy, a young person wants more focus, young people can have incredible benefits. But it's the fact that the genes start turning off, right, at puberty, and they start coming down, and we become more and more naked. Mm-hmm. And do you want to age gracefully, or would you rather age slowly? I'd rather age really slowly than gracefully.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And
we all want to die later at a younger age.
Hey, live younger, longer.
Yeah.
Well, and we had Rose Monday on our show a couple of weeks ago. She's the head coach of USA Women's Track and Field. And you're not going to get any higher than that in the athletic world. And she's got several of her potential 2020 Olympians on the technology. And, you know, no one's going to risk that on this.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You know, testing positive for an illegal banned substance. Because, again, all we're doing is what? Putting more of us back into us.
That's it. There are no bad substances.
Let the body do what the body was made to do, is heal thyself.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Simple. David?
This is awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate
This
it.
has been great. We thank everybody. We thank everybody who's joined us from around the world.
200
And
plus.
next week we've got Dr. Aaron Kaufman.
Oh, he's
After that, we got Dr. Dick Walker. And then after that, Dr. Richard Michael. And then after that, Tyler Norton.
Wow. Well, let me, I got that on my calendar, and let me just mention something that's happening tomorrow in the US. Yeah. You know, this is a presentation. This is not a training on how to go about sharing this with people, but tomorrow at, at 1:00 Eastern on this Zoom number, right? This Zoom number, 1 to 3 Eastern, Saturday, which is the middle of the night in Asia and Europe. It's in the evening, but there's no Europeans on right now because it's so late. But really tune in here if you really want to get a better understanding of how to share this with people. It's not going to be so much about what the product is. I don't think the word mitochondria is going to be discussed at all. But if you want to learn how to share this, definitely come to that training. It's going to be excellent. I know who's going to be speaking, including corporate.
And that's on discoverasea.com.
Yep.
Yep, at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks.
David, Lee,
Thank you for joining us.
thank you
Bet.
guys.
See you next
And
week.
be praying for Maureen Hayes
Yeah.
with her family emergency, guys.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and cut it off. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This recording will be on Asea United, and we'll post it on United or on Vimeo here in a little bit.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye. See
Goodbye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless.